Hey there, Sarah with Next Gen Medium. I do psychic medium development for people who are looking to get into that kind of stuff. Let me bring this a little bit closer. Okay, hopefully it's plugged in. It looks like it is. So I believe everybody has these abilities. I think it's a matter of kind of reframing how you understand things and maybe being open to things that societally we're not so open to, or taught to not be open to. And with that, I like to help people usher them into seeing this world for themselves. And there's a few ways that I can do that, but I think the biggest thing I can do is to share my experiences that have led up to my own truth. We are going to Reddit. This is where I get questions of stuff that people have to ask. Sometimes I can't think of what kind of questions people would have, so I go to these questions because maybe these are questions that could help other people. And maybe I can add my 2 cents to help with realization or whatever. Okay. So today's question on Reddit is actually a poll posted not too long ago. It says, poll for practicing developing mediums. This is in the subreddit of mediums. It has 4 questions, and I'm going to answer each one of them. So poll for practicing and developing mediums. So I think we're always developing. And I think we're constantly practicing whether we realize it or not. So question number 1. What is on me? Oh, that's paint. Okay. All my clothes have paint on them. Number 1, how often and for how long do you sit in the power or meditate each week? So there was a time that I used to meditate quite a bit. But not anymore. My meditation time is actually when I'm focused on energy and spirit, like 100% focused on it as much as you can be, is when I'm laying down in bed about to go to sleep. I'll do a white light meditation, and I'll think about things that I'm grateful for, and I will kind of put my thoughts out there of help, things that I need help with, or just think about things that aren't going well, maybe what I can do to resolve it, just sort of not necessarily like you do the work to help me with it. It's more of what do I need to do. I think that's kind of reflective for everybody at that time when they're going to sleep, but I would say that that's kind of my ritual as I do that. So that is usually 5 minutes, and then I fall asleep doing it. And I'm pretty good at falling asleep. I used to not be good at falling asleep, but now I am. How often, for how long do you sit in the power? That's a different kind of question. I would say now that mediumship or intuition, psychic, that frame of mind is more natural to me, less of a place that I sort of have to gear myself to go to. It's more of part of my natural state now. I would say it happens all the time. So it's hard to answer that because I haven't really picked apart, like, am I sitting in my power right now or am I not? And I guess detailing that a little bit more might help me figure out what kind of answer I can give you. But I interpret sitting in your power as being in a place of in the flow. And I think people, whether they know it, are conscious of it, or maybe it's the way I interpret it, is that people are in the flow when they're not conscious of time and they're deep in thought and activity. And I think that is your being in your power too. So how long am I in my power? Well, I am the kind of person that likes to sit down and do projects, and that could be hours at a time. As for solely focusing on psychic stuff or intuitive or mediumship things, I would say that that's not so much, not as heavy as it used to be. And maybe because I feel like the dial has been turned in such a way since the onset of this stuff for me that it's just kind of naturally part of my existence. And I'm less conscientious of it, I guess. All right, question 2. Oh, man. How did you find your development circle? So I will say that I haven't participated in a development circle for quite a while. And the pandemic was part of that. And maybe a big reason why I've sort of lost some motivation when it comes to my psychic, medium, intuitive stuff. But I did find a development circle through the class that I took an introduction to mediumship class through, and it was through a spiritualist church. I do not subscribe to the teachings of a spiritualist church, and so for me to continue doing a development circle there just wasn't really my thing at that time. But it was nice to be there in the presence of other people who felt that this kind of stuff was as much part of their reality as it was for me. And it helped me do a lot of practicing with people that I did not know. And that is invaluable. That is evidence for you. So I guess I don't know what these questions are asking, what the point of all the questions are, but I would say that there's probably a development circle near you somewhere. And I would also add that an in-person development circle is probably more beneficial than just a Zoom development circle. Not to say that a Zoom development circle, you can't get anything out of that, but I think more of the being in the presence and feeling the energy, it's going to be much more impactful, I think. Not that you asked about that, but I thought I'd throw that in. Number 3, how frequently did you do practice readings while in development? As often as I could. Having 4 jobs at one point and 3 children and being a homeowner and all that stuff, it made it hard to get those practice readings in, but I was so motivated to find out the truth for myself that it was sort of like, I got to make the time. And even though I'm really scared to do it and I don't want to be wrong doing these practice readings, you got to start somewhere, and you got to give yourself a little bit of forgiveness that you're not going to be perfect. If anything, each time you do a reading, it dials you in closer and closer and closer into higher accuracy. So I will say that the magic number for me was 80. I did 80 practice readings before I started charging. I guess that's the way to put it. I would say a couple a week. But I would also do meditations as well. And I that was sort of a personal way to do a practice reading and focusing on someone I knew. And there was a meditation that really took me off in a direction that gave me lots of evidence. Someone that I didn't know very well, that I was connecting with, who had passed, And he gave me lots and lots of evidence that put me over the threshold of believing that, holy shit, like, it's very possible that I could have mediumship abilities, like stunning kind of information. At least it was stunning to me. How long were you in development before you began getting an overwhelming amount of consistent evidence? I'm a hard person to impress. And I don't like being taken for a fool. Especially taking myself as a fool. Like, I want 100%. So there was probably lots of evidence already built up that other people would have been like, holy crap, you got it, Sarah. But there was a lot of internal egoic stuff that I think really pressed me on for me to feel like I got to give in. There's just so much here, why am I denying this when it's presenting itself as truth? How can I continue to be skeptical? And this is amazing. It's almost like you're living a reality that seems fantasy for a little while. And I don't know about you, but I really like to dig my heels into logic. And so to admit to myself that I'm going to accept fantasy into my world as reality was difficult for me to okay. Looking back, however, I would say, I was talking about that mediumship meditation I had connecting with my husband's grandfather who had recently passed away a few years back. I would say that was a turning point. From the time that I started looking into mediumship and psychic ability as skills, the possibility of skills, to the time I had that meditation, I would say that was probably 2 months. Now, I will also say that the person I did the class with, I got a chance to talk with her. I actually have a podcast, Next Gen Medium, the podcast, where I actually had a conversation with Melissa, who is the teacher of that one-day mediumship course, like introduction to mediumship course. And she has told me that that she has never experienced someone to take it on so quickly like I did. So, I hate saying that because I feel like I'm bragging about it, but it's what she has said. And she's even getting me on board with doing a gallery reading, which I've never done before. And I'm kind of beside myself in trying to do that. But I just got to put it out of my head. Don't let the fear build up. So it sounds to me from her perspective of being a medium herself, that coming across someone who can see their skills so quickly and develop so quickly, 2 months is quickly, I guess, was unusual for her. I myself don't have anything to compare that to because it's not like I'm out doing trainings. I do have my Next Gen Medium, what do we call it? Membership access, where I have a blog that I, continue to put thoughts into to help people resonate with their own abilities. But it's not so much that I really follow people in the duration of discovering and owning their abilities. So I really don't have anything to compare that to. But I would say it took a couple months and a spiritual awakening in there. What question am I not asking that I should? What do you like? What's the point of these questions? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I guess you're looking for sort of a consistency in how long it takes to develop to become a medium. I guess the couple of things that I would add in there is I think we all have this ability. So I think it's always waiting for us to tap into it and to allow that imagination piece to kick in order for us to find the information, receive the information, pick out the information. I guess something else I would put in there is it's really hard for me to connect mediumistically with people that I know or family that I'm aware of. I think part of it has to do with my own block of saying I'm making this up. But when it comes to reading a complete stranger and getting people that are coming in for that person, to me, it's a blank slate and it's much easier for me to connect with that. I will also say that when I started doing mediumship, I'm a very visual clairvoyance is my big one. And how I received people when I first started has evolved. And so how I do it now is almost very abstract as opposed to when I first started out, it was sort of show me your face, and then it became more of show me your person. So starting off with sort of like a photograph of somebody, and then it moved on to they're standing in a imaginary space in my mind. Like there's a window and they're opening the window and there they are. And now it's more abstract. It's more like, I can't even describe it. And it's varied. So sometimes I don't really know what's going on because it's changed so much. And that's work that I need to do in order to sort of revisit more often and become more familiar with the things that are being presented. One thing that really threw me off one time was a woman holding what looked like a globe in her hands. And that was a brand new thing for me. So I think what's important in understanding developing as a medium is that you are constantly developing. And the more experiences you have, the more people you meet, the more things you come across in your everyday life, in doing readings, in doing meditations, there's an eternal evolution of how things are received, how things are picked up, what the messaging is, and it's sort of never, it's never easy to pinpoint exactly everything. And I think that's one of the difficult things of being a medium is getting that message right on, because how a message could come to you at one point could be different than how it comes to you at another time, because you have changed and your referencing might be different at that point. So there's a lot of energy and thinking it takes. Oh my God, this is 20 minutes long. How do I do this? To continue practicing and developing, and you're always practicing and developing. You're like a doctor. There's new information out there about how medicine works, how the body works, and that's what doctors do, right? So it's a lot like that. Okay. Hey, there's some answers to your poll question. Ridiculously long again. I do it every time, and I always feel bad because I feel like I go on forever. Okay, so that does it for this one. Check out the other videos. That might be a much shorter. Maybe you enjoyed the longevity of this. I don't know how you could, but check out the other videos here on my YouTube channel and check out my website, nextgenmedium.com. I have a podcast that's available everywhere, Next Gen Medium Podcast. And hey, you can become a member and check out the stuff I got on my blog and get a hold of the episodes that you can only purchase. You can buy them on my website, or you can join the Next Gen Medium Members Access and get it all for free. Stream it for free. All right, done. Peace.